All right, welcome to another episode of Can You Hear Me podcast, where I talk and see where it goes. Today's topic is consistency and how difficult it is. This topic came up because I recently pretty much mapped out a routine that I think would be very beneficial for me. However, it is very rigorous. It is very different than what I'm used to doing. Not very different, it's just a lot of things at once. And that scares the shit out of me. Let me tell you why. So I don't know if I have ADHD or something, and I know I don't want to be one of those bitches where it's like, ADHD, like it's an aesthetic, because it's really not. I do have some of the tendencies where I tend to do things in phases and burn myself out or just stop doing them because I lose interest. So I've been able to find myself in this balance of, doing things that make my body feel good. However, I want to be able to gain that type of consistency. The problem with consistency with habits like going to the gym and Pilates and everything like that is that with me, unless I'm super interested in it, I feel like I have to have super bad consequences, or not super bad consequences. It has to be a situation where if I don't do it, it fucks with one of my values. And the thing is, my values change all the time. So things and habits phase out of my life all the time. And I think that's just a lack of discipline, partly. But it is hard because it's hard to differentiate if it's a lack of discipline or, I did go through a lot is changing. And I think that, because discipline has nothing to do with emotions and shit like that. Honestly, discipline is doing things in the face of emotion, in the face of everything, pretty much. But also, realistically, I don't want to wear myself out. I think my biggest thing that makes it easier to sway me in the other direction is I know that I have a tendency to overwork myself and to overdo things for reasons that don't make sense. So whenever I get tired and there's a period of time where there's a certain activity level that I'm not able to pursue as much, especially me being a woman, me having a cycle, yada yada. It doesn't just come into question, okay, do I want to do this? It comes into question of, okay, am I doing this because I want to do this, or am I doing this because I feel like I have to? And feeling like you have to can have multiple definitions. One of them can be discipline, for the sake of discipline and for the sake of you want to reach a long-term goal, so you have to do this. But then there's also, I've been doing so much soul searching. This is another factor, is that I've been doing so much soul searching lately and really reevaluating everything that I do and why I do it, if those reasons are valid is not the word I'm looking for. If those reasons are aligned with my values, or if those reasons are based on external things that really don't have anything to do with me. So to give an example, if that didn't make sense, the gym. I was really consistent with the gym from the start of the year to around March. And it started out because I really, really liked it. And then it got to a certain point where emotionally and spiritually, I was going through so many different ego deaths. And in going through ego deaths, if you don't know what an ego death is kind of breaking down a layer of your consciousness, or breaking down a layer of what you believe to be true because of an external circumstance. So for me, it was trauma. Trauma had manipulated a lot of the ways that I lived my life. And now I was in this place where I had to reevaluate, okay, am I doing the gym thing because everybody's telling me to do the gym thing and that it'll help me, and that it's the only way to live? am I doing it because I want to look a certain way, or am I doing it because I genuinely like it? And I think at the beginning it was because I genuinely liked it and it was an outlet for me. But I think once I started to go through things and there was a specific situation that really took me out of it for a little bit, I was just like, okay, it felt like a chore. It didn't feel like something I genuinely wanted to do for myself. I think it was something that was really good for me physically and something that was helping me regulate myself. I just also think that my motives behind going to the gym or my mindset behind going to the gym was, now it's a chore, I have to do it, which made it harder to do. So I think there's a lot of nuance in the gym for me. It's just like, I know that I should do it because it's good for me, but I don't want to do it if it feels like a chore. So I'm trying to find the balance with that right now. And that's one of the habits that is coming in, is that, and now I think my motivation has to just override everything in that aspect, which I'm okay with. I've done it before. I'll do it again. I guess where it gets complicated for me is just, okay, the schedule that I just put together is kind of compact. And I do give myself days off. There's 2 days of the week where I give myself days off to do whatever I want. And I guess examining that schedule, it looked like a lot. And that's what scares me. That's what scares me about consistency, is that if it's a lot, it's going to take a lot to get used to it if I do end up doing it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm trying to get better with consistency, and I'm a little nervous about this specific schedule because it is a lot and it will take a lot of time out of my day. It will take an enormous amount of discipline and an enormous amount of motivation, or just discipline in general. And I know for a fact that at some point I'm going to run out of motivation and I'm going to have to do it anyway. Even with this conversation, I know all my fears and I'm still going to have to do it anyway. That's what makes me nervous. Not that necessarily that I'm scared I won't do it. It's just, I'm scared of being tired. I'm scared of running myself dry and falling into the same pattern that I do sometimes, where I just overwork myself. But I also believe that I think that's a little bit attached to where my mental state has been in the past, because I think when I start to overwork myself, that's usually when I really have no business doing it. The times that I've overworked myself, I had no business doing that. I had too many things that I had to address within myself. But I think right now, there's really nothing there. There's things that I, need to deal with, but I know how to handle my emotions now. I know how to handle things. I have a lot going for me right now. And I know how to handle myself in a lot of different aspects, and I know when I need a break. And I know my habits too, so I know how to kind of reverse them and stop them before they start. So it's literally just a leap that I have to take now. And it's not a leap into, I think the difference is that I'm taking a leap into myself and into my confidence and believing that I can truly do something, and believing that I can do something for myself. Those are two layers that are very, very difficult for me to grasp, and have always been very difficult for me to grasp, especially the doing things for myself. Again, doesn't fucking matter what my fears are. It's going to happen anyway. I'm not giving myself a choice. It's just, it is scary starting to invest in yourself after spending so much time investing in other people. And it's still something that needs to be done. And in other, I guess if you want to look at it in another facet of my life, with relationships and boundaries. I think boundaries is another form of consistency for me, which is also rooted in a lot of shit that makes it very difficult for me. I think this routine will help me with all of these issues, honestly, because with boundaries, I know that I need to rest, and that has to be a non-negotiable with this type of schedule. I have to give myself time to rest. And, I have a full-time job right now. I have a lot of other shit going on, so I'm not going to be able to let people walk all over me. I'm not going to be able to let people take up my energy and take up all my time for themselves, because I simply won't have fucking time. And now I don't have to feel bad about that because, I have something to do now. And it's another layer that can give me that confidence to be like, no. Now I think the difference with this has to be what my motivation is and what my end goal is, because I think my end goal with all of this is significantly different than what it was before. I think before it was a little bit more superficial, a little bit more, even if it wasn't superficial, it felt more not short term either. Maybe one facet of it, one facet of my life was affected by it. Now, every single thing in my routine will affect everything in my life. And they'll overlap. They will have their own individual thing. It's like strength training. But when you're working out specific muscles, but some workouts overlap, everything affects each other. Everything affects how I want to be in the long term, what type of person I want to be, what type of lifestyle I want to have. Everything affects everything. And I think that's what's going to motivate me this time, is just that there's multiple benefits from this. There's not just the body, there's not just emotions and stuff like that, because I think those are really easy to talk yourself out of too, because my body isn't bad, my confidence isn't bad, so I can look at the mirror and be like, I don't need to work out anyway. And then emotions, you can find other ways to deal with emotions. So obviously you can have an excuse for not going to the gym and letting out your emotions if you're screaming into a pillow. Obviously you can talk yourself out of that because it's a substitution. I think this one is just a lifestyle change. It's a lifestyle that I want to have, the type of person I want to be, the type of routine that I want to have in my life. That's what I'm shooting for. So it's almost non-negotiable. It's like, if you don't go to the gym, okay, the gym is not a part of your lifestyle then. So it's a little bit more, now it creates a standoff with myself. It's just like, okay, do you want to stay in that routine or do you not? It almost creates a challenge, competitive energy, but with myself this time. And that feels good. I feel very focused. A mix of, it's focused on myself. I was going to say isolated and focused together, but it's just, you put those together, it's focused on yourself. And I don't think I'm used to that, which is why this feels so foreign to me. But I don't find myself thinking about people or expecting them to save my problems or anything like that. I don't find myself thinking about the same things anymore because I'm strictly thinking about myself. So that's my spiel about consistency. Shorter episode, I think, but I think I got my point across pretty well. So I will see you next week. I will start posting this weekly, and I think with YouTube as well, I'm going to have YouTube videos also go up on the same days that podcast episodes go up. So if you want to see more of me, definitely go into youtube.com/cosmic, or you can go on my TikTok at cosmic shit, X on the I, double T, and yeah, I will see you guys next week.